We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
All of your internet belong to us now.
I'm gonna clam stamp your mom.
Oh. Yep,
shit.
Just tell them we're not really talking.
Yeah, no, we're talking. So, but yeah, it's good.
So my intro needs to be right down again.
No, the intro is recorded. It'll go
But this
out.
time with feeling.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's just do it this way. Not your name, but what's the history of Cool Guy? Where does Cool Guy start? In the sense of, you're obviously a content creator now, but someday back in your past, somebody had to give you a Nintendo or a Sega or a little handheld video game. Where does your video gaming life start?
So you want to hear a story?
Absolutely, we love stories.
Love stories.
So
They're my favorite.
it's gonna progress here. So played games all my life, like all the way back to Nintendo, right? I'm a little bit older, right? That's fine. That's all right. Gaming's good.
What's a little bit
like
older?
You're not the oldest here, I promise.
34. I'm 34.
Oh, he's just a baby.
Yeah.
Oh.
Clean.
You are not the youngest, but there's only one person here that is younger than you on the show.
Right.
We'll let you guess which one of us it is.
So, played games all my life. I mean, we're like it goes like a virtual Game Boy, right? I don't know if you guys remember that. You know, and all the handhelds, right? Game Gear, Dreamcast. Well, obviously got up into Xbox, and I've always been an Xbox person. Nothing is PlayStation. It started with Halo, right? And that's gonna kind of keep pushing this conversation along because I got into Halo, loved Halo 1, loved Halo 2. Met my wife. At that time, we were just together. Halo 3 was coming out. We didn't have enough money to buy the system, but I don't know if you guys remember Halo 3. It had the Master Chief helmet.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, awesome helmet, right? So we didn't have enough money to buy the system, but we could get that. So we had that, and like 6-7 months later, we bought an Xbox 360 to actually play it. Well, as far as gaming goes, I've always, and even in Destiny, I'll probably talk about it. Like I play solo a ton, and when we first got that, I didn't get on Xbox Live to play Halo multiplayer for like 6, 7, 8 months. Never talked to anybody. Didn't even have an Xbox Live. I just played the campaign. And the day that I did, I met this guy, and actually it turned out I was actually quite good at Halo PvP, a regular, matchmaking there. Anyway, I met this guy because I don't know if you guys remember in Halo after the game, you could just talk to each other. Some people would just yell obscenities at you and then it would just cut out. You had like a 4-second window to say whatever you want. If it went on to the next
proximity
game.
chat, yeah.
Yeah. Well, this guy said good game, and I figured out how to friend him. His name was Rhodesy, and turned out he was, just small world. He turned out he was from where I was born. I was living in New York at the time.
Cool.
And, we just got to talking. I told my wife, hey, I think I just met my best friend today. She goes, oh, sure you did. Well, like, long story short with that.
She's like, what about me, fucker?
We met Rhodesy, met his friends, his girl, and so on. So we played games, Call of Duty, Halos, all of them, up into Destiny. Well, we eventually moved 10 minutes down the road from him in Missouri and did that for 6 years. And, that's because of gaming, right? It's crazy how gaming is, I tell a lot of people, I talk to my gaming friends more than I talk to, my real life friends, and how many people
That's so true.
can you say that about that you talk to every day, and some of them you never even met face to face. So gaming has these friendships, and obviously Halo is a Bungie game. So I started getting into Destiny, and I never done any content creation or anything like that. Hell, like I said, I didn't really talk to anybody online. It was just very select, small group of people. We had a good time. But I'm an X-ray tech, radiologic technologist.
Cool.
Yeah. And, I was doing all my certs and, going for MRI and CT, and I love doing it because I love helping people. But Destiny, I saw some things. I think the first video I ever did was on getting Glimmer for Iron Banner in Destiny 1, because you would go Glimmer broke just to go play the thing. That video got like 100,000 views. And I was really, really small. But I started just dabbling. Dude, I made the original Xbox, like the day one edition. I made videos on that for YouTube. I did that for like a year. I would literally just post clips, kind of like the Share Factory for PlayStation.
Yep.
I only had 5 minutes worth of content, and I just talked over it with my Astro headset. And that's how I did YouTube, and I did it as a hobby. And it turned out people liked what I had to say, and eventually, we talked about it earlier off, but Planet Destiny was huge at the time. They were like the #1 source for Destiny content. They reached out to me and said, hey, we want you to start covering some videos. I talked to my wife.
This is
and
back for when Ryan was there, I'm assuming?
Yeah, Ryan.
Yeah, I know the look, but just because it's Moon now, so totally different.
That's the one, yeah. Moon's great.
Yep.
So I started doing that, and the video that kind of took off for me was a weapon called Hopscotch Pilgrim. I covered that for Planet Destiny, and a lot of people started getting that weapon, and there's a little meta shift to that weapon, and a lot of people were referring to my stuff. So, like, really, with the content creation, it was kind of a lucky deal. I mean, I guess I did some right things, said the right things to get with a brand like that, and they kind of amplified me on my own channel. And it got to a point, I started making videos, I started doing more, putting more time into it. And I genuinely love doing it, because I genuinely love Destiny. And even through the bad times, I've kind of played Destiny. But there was a point in Destiny 1 where I stopped doing content for 8 months to a year, because it wasn't in a bad spot. And I was one of those people, I wasn't going to do some farewell tour and blah, blah, blah. I just stopped. Just stopped.
You didn't
And
feel
honestly,
like you didn't need to go onto Twitter and go, I'm quitting Destiny and do that whole thing?
No.
Be back next week.
And yeah,
No, not at all. Because it's one of those things, because I don't think that Destiny was in such a bad spot that when I did that, it was probably the best thing that I ever did for my love for the game, 1, and 2, like content, because when I came back, I got the love for the game again. But I started doing that, and it got to a point to where I started, it was doing well, it was doing a little bit better than my job being an X-ray tech. And like I said, I love doing that. I did urgent cares, I worked in ERs, I worked in level 1, 2, like all the different trauma centers, the ones that have the X-ray right within the ER operating room. Loved it. But COVID came, and about 6 months before that, we were kind of talking about me just doing this on its own, right? Just do YouTube, have a good time with it. And then once COVID, like that's what I did, because she didn't want me in the hospital. And I would have, obviously I was scheduled shifts, but I decided just to pursue YouTube And honestly, it's one of the I'm glad that I did, because like the growth is cool and all, but really I get to wake up every day, I get to play Destiny, I get to talk about Destiny. Like to me, it's perfect. So like that's a really quick story of how I got into it. But it's funny because like I met that guy Rhodesy and we still play through a Bungie game, and Bungie's always been about community. And what's so cool about I mean, it's the Destiny community, but I always thought it was the Bungie community. Like they harvest that. Like they do a really good job of getting people together in their worlds and having a good time. And they've always said that Destiny is a little bit better when you're playing with friends. And for me, unfortunately, especially with making content, dude, I play 95% solo. Everything. Iron Banner. The only time like I'll do pickup trials, I'll do pickup GMs. I always do strikes. I do strikes alone. It's just something. It's what I've always done. And like,
you prefer it? Do you prefer to play solo?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes, yeah. Because with what I like to do, like with my content, is if I were to go in with a stack team, and I got some good friends,
yeah, we know your friends. Yeah. Fuck them all because they kill us.
I wouldn't get the gameplay I wanted. I wouldn't.
Right.
It wouldn't be like what I like to call it's organic gameplay. That's what I call it. It's one of those I go in, say I'm playing a stack team, 4 or 5 players. I'm doing things that I would do as a solo player. Because if I had my own team, I'd play differently. I'd do different things. Mm-hmm. So that's how I like to get my footage. That's how I like to do my reviews. And with the things, a lot of these top tier players that are really good, they really do only play a certain way. And you know exactly what it is. There's a lot of hand cannons, there's a lot of shotguns, there's a lot of shadow dive, a lot of stompies, a lot of dune marchers. It's the same thing.
You're kidding.
But
yeah, they're slaying and I'm praying. Yeah.
Yeah, but
what he's not saying, there's a lot of wall hacks. There's a lot of aimbot.
We'll get into that too.
It's an absolute shame with how many weapons, builds, and gear is in this game that the simplicity of running stompies and shatter dive is kind of overtakes all of it, and that's what I've always hated. So when I make builds and I talk about weapons, I don't really think of those players in mind at all, because those players, it's only like seriously. I always tell like the people that run stompies, like, dude, you're the same guy. I play you every game. You do nothing that I've never seen. Like you're like, I just need to give you like little like Ugg boots and a pumpkin spice. Like it's fall, I know. But
that's a perfect analogy, though. I mean, really.
Spice, for one.
Because I mean, how many times do you go into a PvP match and you're facing off? Like, let's say you do branch out and say, "All right, I'm gonna try something different,"
Mm-hmm.
and then within 5 seconds you're killed by somebody, high jump and stompies and shatter dive, and you're like, "Fucking, I'm putting on stompies."
Exactly.
You default right back to what you're comfortable with because you didn't take the time to learn something new.
Yeah. So, and I'm working on something right now, and I'll talk about it with you. Like, I think that build crafting in the Crucible is kind of dying, and it's going to get worse because when Kevin Giannis and Chris Proctor, they're a big part of the development there at Bungie. They want to get away from abilities and they want to get more into gunplay, which is good. That's going to be good for the game. But like my issue with that is when I look at something like Shinobu's Vow, or when I look at something like the Getaway Artist that involves a grenade or a melee, there's way more ability-based exotics in the game than a neutral exotic, meaning a Stompies or a Foe Tracer, a Knucklehead, a Transversive Step. What's going to happen is I'm worried that that's going to kill those builds, because as a PvP player, like they put heavy constraints on you to do well within your build. And what that means is you want 100 recovery, you want tier 10 recovery. Mm-hmm. So your armor goes into that. Your mods, like, your 2 or 4 and intellects 2 and 5 cost 5 energy to put, an intellect mod on. So they kind of constrain you to that. Then after that, it's going to be your class ability. So that is going to be mobility for Hunter, resilience for Titan, to get your class ability up. So those 2 things out of the gate already kind of puts a constraint on your build. And what happens is if you want to make a nice grenade build, well, you have to kind of go into your discipline. Like with Shinobu's Vow, you would put something like bolstering on it. and on your class item, you would put on utility kickstart. So what happens is you're using all this mod energy to complete a build, or you can just put on stompies. Because the other parts of the build, like you're spending all of this energy, like they make it really hard on you. You spend all this energy trying to put a build together. Meanwhile, you still need 4 energy for your shotgun scavenger. You still need your targeting. You still all these. You need Powerful Friends Radiant Light. And PvP players use Powerful Friends Radiant Light because of what it does to your overall stats for the build. It's a free 20 mobility, a free 20 strength. And, with your friends. Yeah. Even if you don't have any, even if you're not getting charged with light, it's free stats. So all of those are accounted for. So they really pigeon you, they get you to a place where you can't build out. And what they're saying is we're going to make this more gunplay and less ability based. All that's telling me is it's already really hard to focus into a build like that. Or you can just run stompies and get all of those things. Get the max recovery, get the max class item, or let's say mobility for the hunter. You're getting all those things, and you get your shotgun scavs. You get all those things to complete a build, and you're still way better off than someone that's trying to build into, let's say, Ashen Wave. You know what I'm saying? So
and then add your stasis aspects on it now.
Yeah.
So even more incentive to run stasis because now you can get triple hundreds easy if you're a hunter. I mean, it's not hard to do. Just run stasis and you got it.
That's what I'm worried about. And Dune Marchers too. Dune Marchers is another one. It's a lot of free things that it's giving you for doing absolutely nothing, right? Whereas a lot of the exotics in the game, they're considered bad because you have to build into them so heavily. And like I said, it's to a point to where all the energy, because when you start adding it up, the things that I hate, shotguns, sniper stuff is heavy, dude. It's 5 targeting energy, it's 5 scavenger energy. That you can't really build out to anything else because it all goes there. And they made it that high. So like when you get, and like this goes for anybody listening, like when you get armor, it has to be recovery and intellect based. It has to be, because they put the constraints of it costing 5 or 4 to get the most out of it. Because all the other ones is, 1 or 3. Yeah. 1 or 3. So like the build crafting is really difficult. Like, and to me, it's kind of dead because like if I go into a match, like I said, it's cookie cutter. It's the same thing over and over because you get the most bang for your buck, everything that you need with a free movement exotic. And that's why the neutral exotics are so popular. And I don't know what they're going to do about it.
When I look at exotics and my choice for them, what I'm going to go with is what can I use with any subclass? And stompies can be used with any subclass. The thing I hate is when you get like the no backup plans, right? So you can use it with one of the tree of one subclass for the Titan. It doesn't give you that perk with any of the 3, which would be cool if it did. The other thing that always irritates me about that, along with the same one with the beetle one for the hunter, Caprice. You have to have the charged melee in order for the perk to proc.
Yep.
And then it uses it. It's not like you get it for free if you have it. Just because you were in proximity, you did the special thing, whatever it was. So why not just use something else, use another exotic, and just use that perk anyway, because it's part of that tree. That's one of the things I never understood. Why lock it down to pigeonhole it to something so small, but and then you have others that everyone, they think it's the doorknob, everybody uses it because it's versatile.
So
and versus steps.
Devlin in chat has a question. Throw it in while you guys are talking about this if you want to touch it. Can you guys talk about the lack of long-range exotics for us Titans that like to snipe? Excluding sit-ins and one-eyed mask, of course.
That's the problem with Titan. And, I think that the class identity has been messed up for a while in Destiny because, I play Hunter the most. Hunter plays a completely different game than anybody. Than Titan or Warlock. They play a completely different game. The Shadow Dive, the Stompies, the aerial, the vertical movement. And really, for Titan specifically, there's only 3 or 4 neutral exotics. Titan, One-Eyed Mask, Dune Marchers, and what's the other one?
The Inmost Light. The chest,
Inmost Light.
The ability.
Yeah. So there's no real. That's another thing that Bungie does, man. Like the Titan, it's either you need to punch something or you need to throw up a barricade. Nothing in between. So if you don't do those things, there's those outliers. Like there's the one-eyed mask. There's even burning steps, like running like let's say Vex right now. Like with Warlock, like Warlock has the longest melee in the game, but the best melee in the game goes to Titan. So like it's kind of flipped and reversed to me.
Thank you very much for saying that out loud.
The most powerful, yeah. So, and take that for example. Take the class's abilities. If you take them just alone without any exotics, and you go into Iron Banner, and you've got that one quest that's get ability kills. I can knock that out in a game with a Titan. I can knock it out in a game, maybe 2 with a Warlock. It's 5-6 games with a Hunter because the grenades just don't kill.
Yep.
There's no one-shot grenade out there, or you've got to take off some of their health first, and then maybe your grenade will finish them off. Melee, you got to get up close, and it's, it's just there's an unbalance there, to where of course you're not gonna utilize or try to work on an ability build because it's pointless.
And stasis really hurt all that, I think, because there were the different versions of stasis. There was the original Shadow Dive, then there was Dust Fields, then there was the Titan melee. There was a lot of strong things with stasis, and they nerfed all of them at some point. Shadow Dive is going to get nerfed again, but then we started getting into it's an ability based game, and I don't think that was the case when this game came out. In Destiny 1, I mean there were one shot stickies, there were some issues there, but in D2, like when I talk about ability based stuff, like I don't think that the solar grenade, for them to say we're trying to do away from our abilities and get into more gunplay, like is the solar grenade that much of a problem? Is the lightning grenade that much of a problem? Like those abilities? No, like it kind of all starts with stasis.
They're really meant for area control. I mean, if you use them properly, and not that I'm a god at this game by any means, but I mean that's really what grenades were really for. And that's what I think most high level PvP players will tell you, that's what grenades really are for area control, so that you can make movements in a different direction. You block them in, but I think you're right. I think the abilities have taken over so much and ruined certain parts of the game. I mean, we all know that Destiny has gone through so many different times where you could just basically pinpoint an area of Destiny life by when Shatter Dive was it, or when everybody was
Wormhusk.
When Bottom Tree Titan was just everybody was running it because
what was
the
it in
super would
Destiny?
basically stay for 2 minutes.
What was it in Destiny 1 when they first introduced the solar subclass that Titans had unlimited grenades or something like that? It was a glitch or something, or I can't remember now.
Really, all us old fuckers, you're asking us all the way back to Destiny 1. So, can we jump back a little bit without the Destiny conversation as much, and talk a little bit more about Austin here, since we fucking have him on the show. One of the questions we were tossing around before you jumped on is, we always go back and do a little bit of research about our guests and make sure we have our facts straight and everything. And we noticed you have a Twitch channel. You haven't been live on there in 25 days. You have a YouTube channel that you're, uploading fairly regular to. And I'm curious, since you're doing this from home now and making this more of your lifetime, why not the Twitch? Is that just strictly because you are the solo player? Is there something that, you're just not a streamer guy? I mean, obviously you're good in front of a camera, so, what's the reason for not streaming or live?
I love doing it when I do it. Like, as a matter of fact, Fallout called me today. He's like, hey, dude, let's play some Iron Banner. I'm like, no, dude, I got to get a video done. He said, no problem. Right?
It's that panda.
Be right back. You go ahead.
And, I might stream tomorrow, like we were talking about, tomorrow or the next day, just some Iron Banner. I love doing it, man, but my creation process for these videos, like, I've done it for the longest time, 4 years. And what I do, because I do script my stuff for 90% of it, because I wish I could tell you that this perk does this and this perk or this range fall off is this. I can't, right? I wish I could. That'd be cool.
You got to research a little bit.
I'm back. I had to go flip the stakes on the.
There you go. It'd be kind of weird if I could tell you that off the top of my head, but so like I'll do a traditional introduction body closing, and how I do it is I'll get an idea and I will first play, right? I'll put the build together and I'll first play, and I'll probably play for 2 or 3 hours. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I'm getting little clips of it as I go, right? So then I will talk about in the introduction, getting into the body of my video and how to get the build going. Like this is just an example, or it could be a weapon. We'll take a weapon. That's a little bit easier. But what I'll do is I will fully, like I use Audacity and I use Adobe. I will fully, do the commentary. I'll stick it in my timeline. I will render it out with all the clips, and I'll see if I like it. And sometimes I get to the middle of the video and I'll go back and change the beginnings. I have to do all that over again just to make it complete. And that's the way I've always done it. Like, dude, like like Rick Cacus, that guy. No script, he just flies. Everything he does, he just flies to it. He just watches something and talks. Like, I can't do that. I wish I could.
They're out like 2 minutes right after the twop.
Yeah, dude.
Mesa Sean does that too.
No, not anymore.
Not anymore. Yeah, he's retired.
He retired,
dude. No, but I mean, he was. Anytime he would just be completely off the.
He could do it too.
Cuff.
Yeah,
which is crazy because he doesn't. You don't hear a lot of ums, and you don't hear any breaks in it.
And it's funny you bring up Sean. Like him and Rick and Mike Tash, well, and True Vanguard too. They have been so nice to me over the past 4 or 5 years, man, helping me, like whether it be through a call or a Discord chat or just walking me through things on how to set things up. They're like the nicest people. Like that's why I get really upset when people talk about Rick Cacus. Like, yeah, it's a little meme, but I know from my experience. I mean, it gets old, dude. It gets old because I get a lot of mean stuff said about me all the time. So I can only imagine with him. But dude, they're all like stand-up people. Like the Destiny content creators are all awesome, dude. All of them.
But see, one of the things I like about what Rick did. One of the things I like what Rick did with his was, he's always he does his best to really enunciate, right? Yeah. And that's kind of one of the things people pick on him about. And especially the way he introduces himself. Rick Cacus here, right? And the thing that I thought was so cool was after he got married, he started having his wife go, Chick Cacus here, and she would jump in. And it was really, a way of, they would throw in different little nicknames or whatnot, making, poking fun at himself. And I just, props to him, man. I mean, that was, it kind of brought him up past that, all the level of the negative talk that people try to throw at him. He's like, I'm going to own it. I'm above it.
Yeah.
I think, the thing is that, of course, as more popular you get, you're always going to get those naysayers and you're going to get people, whether be jealous or not. Everybody has their own vibe, and that's the one thing about Rick is everybody knows he's off the cuff, and, with Cool Guy, I've always loved about his videos is just the fact that, I know I'm going to learn something today. I'm going to get in there and, I'm going to basically understand what you're saying, it's, but everybody's got a vibe, and especially like Fallout, of course, with the way he does his thing. He's got a very comedic side to him, which is
awesome.
Just absolutely awesome. Yeah. It's kind of like off the cuff. That doesn't feel scripted at all. That kind of that kind of comedy, and you kind of throw it in there, leave it in there like a little Robin Williams,
Here,
But,
the question though is when they attack these guys and they go negative.
Yeah.
Do you really think they're attacking the person and their character, or do you think they're just attacking the content? Because like the comment, without getting real hard, before our show, we were talking about, what is it that people don't like? Is it really the person, or is it just like, hey, I'm just a little wore out with you. I'm a little tired with seeing your stuff every day. I want something new.
It could be both, and a lot of it's faceless, right?
Mm-hmm.
YouTube
it's
comments,
easy to
Twitter,
be a keyboard warrior.
Faceless people do faceless things, man. I learned that a long time ago, and for the most part, for me personally, it doesn't bother me unless it gets out of hand. Unless it's like malicious, I would say. then of course, they get the block and whatnot. But
well, okay, yeah. So but so take like Boop was just saying and talking about how your videos, he's always learning something. There'll be an exotic out there. Like they made the changes to the the
stag.
No, the arm pieces that no one used.
Obviously, there's
controversial.
No, the one that all three different characters had the same type of arm. Aeon. Yeah, they all had one version of it. No one used it. You literally had to have the original onset of it. The only person that benefited was Warlocks. They got grenade energy. Everybody else just got class energy. Well, I can get that anyway.
Yep.
Why do I need to not use something good and use this instead just so I can help the Warlock? But when they said they were buffing those, my first thought was, I'm not going to try and figure it out. I'll just wait till the cool guy puts out a video,
Yeah.
And
there's
literally,
no lies told there. There's no lies told there. I could empathize with that.
But I mean, that's just it. When it comes to obscure, when they change perks, like, whatever changes they're going to make to Adrenaline Junkie, I already know my game time's limited. I'm not going to try and spend mental energy trying to figure out how to make this work. I'm going to wait for cool guy this video, Yeah.
Hey, maybe cool guy should make an emote video so you learn to be nice to people in the tower.
Me?
No, he's poking fun at me because
I'm poking fun at him.
Yeah,
what'd you do?
When people do, like those groove emotes, like come in for a hug, I just like, dude, I got shit to do. Just run past them. I don't ever stop for that because it's just weird. I don't know them.
It's just weird.
At least put on the dab emote and do the half hug, dab them, and walk away.
Yeah.
I don't want to get your digital DNA on me.
If they're doing some kind of weird dance or something, a little bit I wouldn't do in real life. I'm not gonna. But if they're doing cowbell, I'll join in on that. I mean, come on, there's certain ones,
Of all the ones, it's like,
I
don't give hugs, I don't dance, but cowbell.
Yeah.
So I do have to say though, for all the things you talked about, type of videos you do, apparently from chat here that there's a very big barbecue energy coming from you, and they are screaming. They are screaming for a barbecue video.
Dude, and that's the reason why I pulled out the apron, because Fallout said, I don't know how many times I've reached out to Cool Guy, I said, hey man, you want to do, hey, let's play Iron Banner. Man, I just put some steaks on the grill, man. Or, man, I'm just, the grill. It was always the grill.
So I grilled today. So every Sunday, I'm a huge football fan, Kansas City. And man, it's been so nice because I moved back to my original home of where I grew up. Well, I'd say where I grew up. I spent 16 years here, but I have friends that come over every Sunday to watch the game. My family comes over. There's about 9 of us, and I grill for everybody. I've each season. I mean, we're in week 9 or whatever. I buy all of it. I get it and I go grill it. And my dad was saying, you need to get some people to help you out with something, either grilling or paying for it. I said, Dad, and it's cool being close to my dad too. I've been away from my dad for a while, but I said, dude, in this room, I spend 55, 60 hours a week. I do it Monday to Saturday. So when I go out, it's something I love, grilling and cooking for all these people. And I love watching the games. I love spending the time. We do it from 9 in the morning till the end game, which is 11 at night. Of course, people trickle in around noon. I love doing it. So
have you ever thought about while you're doing it?
It sounds like you might need to make a video one.
Yeah, why not set up a couple cameras?
Do a stream.
Yeah.
I'd probably do a Twitter
There you go. That way you got the best of both worlds, and you satisfy your fans here with some barbecue.
It's like Obi Katie Cat one time, during the whole pandemic and whatnot. She's like, well, you know what? She just put her camera or cell phone on a stick and guided him around, the town where she's at. Did a little tour of the location. Cool. And those are videos that you love watching this Destiny streamer, but then that's when it just explodes. It just goes completely different.
Yeah, because the comments that we've been getting in here, if you haven't been reading them, is people are digging, learning about who you are, not so much the Destiny content. We could sit here and go, let's not talk about Destiny for the rest of the time. Let's just talk shit. And your crowd here will enjoy it way better than if we talk about any gun or any build or anything else. So, So tell us, what is the prescription on those glasses?
Take that, yeah.
I need to get LASIK, dude. I hate it.
So
I hate it.
But
That's really cool. That's like the mark of a good community right there. That's really awesome.
So now with I mean, you're a pretty famous guy from what I hear. Now, do you get recognized in public a lot? Do you?
I have been. I actually did this past week, man. It's pretty cool. It's rare.
I saw that on Twitter.
It's rare. It's rare, but I have been, which is awesome. It's awesome, man. We actually, there's another guy named, I don't know if you guys, his name's Jingleheimer. He's a mod in a lot of people. And actually, I've been friends with him for a while, and him and his wife, we went to a Renaissance festival.
Cool.
And there were 3 people there. There were 3 people there. That's all. Sorry, something's opening up on my computer. There we go.
I want to see your Ren Fair costume.
He's been hacked.
So I take it
my wife.
Go ahead.
Now my wife went as Moxie from Borderlands,
Cool.
and I was last minute, so I went as like a gesture ringleader. Had a big top hat and everything. Pretty cool.
That's so cool.
I take
I'll tell you though.
Since you're KC, I think you're probably close to that area. You ever go to the Planet Comic Con up there?
Not.
Really have that? Oh man, that is great. It's a good time. I live in Springfield, Missouri, so we drive up when all that
Oh,
stuff.
do you really, man?
Yeah.
That's where I moved from. I was in St. Louis. So
Nice.
I'll tell you though, Austin is as nice in person as he is here on camera. I'll tell you because I got the opportunity to meet him when I went to Guardian Con 2019. So when I first met you, and I don't know if you remember, but I know I do for sure, but I got in late and I went to the bar because there was nothing else. That's where I was meeting Rick, was at the bar, and I see Mona, a friend of the show, Z Guardian, and she said, "Come on over, sit down." So I sit down, and I just start chatting it up with this group of people. And we're all just having a great conversation, and somebody says to me, he says, "You know who that is?" I said, "Who is it?" He said, "That's a cool guy in Fallout." I said, "Say what?" So I was just like, I've been sitting here just gabbing away with these guys. I mean, just like anything else but minor talks about the game, because that's what we were there for. But I mean, that whole time, we're just sitting there, and he's just as cool as a cucumber. No pun intended, I guess, by that name. But he was a true cool guy. I mean, it was all right. It was a blast.
Since we're tripping over it, let's just ask, where the fuck does that name come from? Did somebody make fun of you and hurt your feelings when you were a kid?
I honestly, I wish that I didn't go forward with this. I do. I wish that it could have been something as simple as Rick Cackus or Chu Vanguard. But I mean, what comes with it, I've noticed obviously it's we got a cool guy over here. I understand what goes with it. I've been here for years. Really, a lot of people called me that growing up because I had a huge graduating class in 2000, huge campus. It was 3 miles long for a high school. It was in Texas. Damn. Huge high school. And I was cool with everyone, dude. It didn't matter if you're a jock, if you're a skater. There's all these little stereotypes. It didn't matter to me because I would go to school with my Jordans on, my Echo T-shirt, my Hurley hat. I didn't care. I go walk and talk and help anybody out. And at that time, I don't know if you guys remember, Rush Hour 2 came out.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's a line. You say, "Is it cool? Is it cool, guy?" So that's how it started with me, dude. And I had a whole bunch of people calling me that, and it kind of went through into the early, part of out of school going into college. So it always kept, man. It always kept. So that's what that was my. Remember, I said I didn't really talk to anybody online, That was my first original gamer tag. I am cool guy.
Yeah, but see, at least with yours, you got this nice even kill, voice way of, introducing yourself. Hey, cool guy here, or seeing the next video, cool guy, or I am cool guy, and it's you don't come across as a
pompous asshole.
You're original cool guy here. Really like disc jockey,
attitude.
Howard Stern kind of, no over the top shock jock thing going on with it. So, it works.
I do though. I mean, I wish that I would have rebranded it early, dude. I do.
What?
I mean,
Cool
it's all
Guy?
right. Yeah, I do.
What
I
would
do.
it have been? What
I don't
would
know.
you have gone to?
I don't know what it would have been, but like the more that went on, but what's nice is, I mean, there is kind of there. I tried to at least develop a brand around it, and I think that when you see the symbol, and that I wanted to be like Batman, right? You see the symbol.
Yeah.
You know, they know that's my star, and they can relate it with Cool Guy. So,
But all right, so is there any other streamer, and it may not be like, oh, this is your idol or someone you look up to, but is there any streamer who you would say probably has the perfect name? It's like, oh man, that's a kick-ass gamer tag.
Probably. I mean, within the Destiny, I'd probably say Bife.
Bife.
Yeah.
Yeah, short, sweet, and simple.
Bife.
Yeah.
My name is Mike.
I like people
My
with
name is
cool
Mike.
names, like Rick Cactus. Like they could just use their name.
Because
Yeah,
there's so many versions of it.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
see, I would
You get to the great
go
part.
from the other end of that. You know, I'm the 40-something, gamer that my original gamer tag was just my name.
Yeah.
And I would jump in raids, and you've got, Cool Finger Joe over here, or or Sticky Nades, or whatever their crazy ass. Like my favorite, some of my favorites.
Nades.
I've seen Well Damn Jackie was like a gamer tag I saw. I was like, that's insane.
I mean, you could have a dumb name like Mr. Luke Cannon. I mean,
no, but see, that's iconic though. I'm just the jackass coming in here,
iconic.
Josh Bolin, and they were all just like, "Hey, Josh," and they, hollering out all these other, whatnots and whatnot. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, first off, not only did I use my own name, I'm the same guy who puts that. That's my. All you gotta do is just throw @gmail.com and wow, you've got everything to
And
it.
you get your social
My
security
whole
number and your
life,
website and
right?
everything else it ever needs. Not that anyone should try that for legal reasons. That's a joke.
As soon as PlayStation allowed us to change gamer tags, I did.
Yep.
All right.
So Austin, do you see yourself evolving from what you're doing now? What would be your next goal?
So it's all. I'm trying to figure out where. Okay, so as an X-ray tech, you have your CEs, your continuing education, right? So at the end of the whole deal, you take your boards, you pass them, you're good. If you don't keep up with your continuing education, you have to take your boards again, and you don't want to do that. I do not want to ever have to do that. But I've always been caught up with it, and what I plan on doing, especially I think next year, is I want to get with a local hospital in shadow, and eventually pick up shifts to keep my skills up. That it's something I can always fall back on. YouTube's always been fun, and I'll let you in. Like, I was making YouTube videos, and I would stream a little bit, but as I've gotten bigger, I'm with this agency now, and they bring me, sponsored videos and brand deals. Like that's a whole another deal on top of a YouTube channel, right? And then there's Scuff. They've been awesome. It just depends on how much more I can grow. Like I've had pretty good growth, and I'm gonna cover Destiny as long as Destiny's gonna be around. I've only covered one other game on my channel. It was one video, and it was Apex Legends.
Are you gonna step out for Halo Infinite when it drops in December? I
might. What I would do is I would do a collaboration probably with Fallout. That's how I would start it. And if people liked it, I would. As far as covering that game, maybe. It has to be the right game. Like the only one that's gotten close for me personally has been Apex. But maybe, whenever Destiny dies in 2138, or I don't know how long, because no one knows their plans, right? Yeah. I'm gonna cover as long as I can, and I'll transition to something when that time comes. But it'll probably be another Bungie game because I think that they're always working on stuff.
What always floors me is how you guys can find, those inherent traits inside of weapons. Because Bungie just isn't going to come out there and tell you, oh, by the way, this inherently has this.
I wish they did.
But you guys do figure that stuff out. Like, oh,
Masters of surprise.
This inherently has, what outlaw or whatever it is, or it has a snapshot. It just doesn't say it. It's just built into the gun. And there are other games out there like I play, and Ryan's gonna throw shit the minute I say it, but it's like Marvel's Avengers. There are so many perks to their stuff. I mean, you can, when they do drop exotics, there's a handful of perks that are always different. You can get the same exotic 12 different times or 50 different times and still not have a matching perk set. So learning how to, how do these perks flow and what do they do? It does take some time to try and figure it out, and it would be nice. There's no one that's really jumped into markets like that to, give those perks because, Ryan would say there's just not enough of a player base.
They probably see the impossible hill to climb with that, and I don't blame them. Destiny, it's because that's a whole nother part. It's research and testing all that stuff out that doesn't even account into. I mean, it's the total overall duration of a video, like how long it takes me to do. But nobody talks about that or cares. Like when we'll have. Like when Killing One, Unrelenting, and these perks come out, you spend however many time and how many ways to get it going. Like when they did the changes to Bottom Tree Dawnblade, how the explosion spreads. One of the first things I did, I made a video on it, was how it interacts with the toaster. You get a kill with the toaster, it explodes like Firefly, and it'll just chain. One of the very first things I did is I was playing Iron Banner, and I killed all 6 of them with one toaster shot. So it's things like that, and how Bungie kind of codes things, because a lot of Telesto, like how it's coded. What I think's happening is it flip flops. Like the projectiles are coded as an enemy essentially, from what I've gathered. So or as an object that can be hurt, but it's coded kind of like an enemy. That's why you can get all these crazy orbs that spawn when you shoot at it. Or back in Destiny 1, when you would shoot Telesto, there was similar to like Ashes to Assets, or when you hit something with your melee or hands-on, you get super energy. You could throw swarm grenades and throw Telesto on them and punch it all, and you just immediately get your super.
Yeah.
Right? So
I remember that.
Yeah, so
Telesto is so broken.
So just kind of having an idea of how they code certain things kind of leads to all those. Yeah,
or you could do kamikaze missions with it. Just take one of your friends, load them up with a bunch of Telesto, and then let them go right into B and then blow everybody up.
But being on the receive... Now, one of the things I wish they would add in, just for bows, if nothing else, is friendly fire. Because I can't count the number of times I've been pulling down, aiming down sights. I draw back, and some idiot runs in front of me right as I release, and just stick them in the back,
Just take them out.
I would have a 7th column on my own team.
So,
yeah.
Austin,
with that, I would tell you.
You were talking about coding here for a second. Do you understand coding, or are you getting a lot of this from like Merc and some of the other guys? Because I know Merc used to do some play testing and stuff, right?
So,
are you somebody that can look at code and understand what the fuck they're talking about? Okay.
No, but the general basics of how they're applying it, I can. Such as range stats and certain weapon engagement ranges, and how it goes to a certain range, and then the aim assist is gone. Past that, it's like that for all weapons, and it's like that for a lot of the abilities in the game, and how they work and things they interact with, I should say. Like the toaster's a good one because it works with bottom tree hammers as well. When you kill somebody with it, it'll create a sunspot. It's just how they have, for whatever reason, the toaster's explosion applying to those trees.
That doesn't apply to the bow with the seeking arrows, whatever, I forget what it's called. Tikus. Yeah, but it doesn't apply to Tikus.
No, it's however
you would think it should, because it also applies to Polaris Lance's explosion.
It does.
I think it's a different kind of burn. I don't know.
All right. So, all right, let's change
how they
the
have
flow
those
here.
things. They do.
Ryan wants to change the flow.
Yeah, change the flow a little bit here and ask Austin, since we had a guest a couple weeks ago that came with like a list of things. So I want to ask you, if you had one wish for Destiny, what would it be? What would you like to see added, or done different, changed, whatever it is?
That's a good question.
Or maybe even top 3 things, not just.
Yeah, no, Matt. I mean, this is start of a conversation tree, not like pigeonholed into the just pick one and then we're moving on, fucker.
Top 3. I would like for there to be a way to have a big social hub like. You guys ever played the Elder Scrolls Online?
No,
it's okay.
Warcraft, yeah.
It's okay. I'll pay. We can.
But like a public space.
What was supposed to be an anthem?
And there'll be over 100 people in there. I would really like something like that because I think they need to figure out a way to get good LFG within the game. I don't know how they could do it, but that's what they need to do. I think that's one of the top things, and it all started to me with crossplay and cross save. Being able to play with your Steam friends and your PlayStation friends. They're getting the voice chat going with it. But aside from random fire team matchmaking, I think a big social space like that to find players, or just certain areas, like it happens with other games. Like, hey, if you want to do a dungeon, you stand over here. This is the dungeon area, and you do your pickup games right there.
So more like MMO
Warcraft,
style.
Yeah. In Warcraft, you go into the major cities, and it's just overloaded with people.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's an evolution that the game needs. 2, is I think that they need to drop whatever support that they have for last gen stuff. They do for this game to
You're talking
get
PS4,
stuff like that.
Xbox One, or that's what.
Yeah. So I mean, the dude, like the 360 servers are going offline. I don't know if you guys heard that.
It's not surprising at this point.
I have not.
Yeah.
360 Xbox Live servers or Destiny servers?
Xbox Live.
Yeah, that's not surprising at this point.
So
yeah,
whatever tech that is limiting what they can do, they need to somehow get rid of. And I don't know, like a new engine, it's almost like impossible. Like they have their engine, they tweak it, and that's what they did for all of Destiny. But if there's any way they get rid of stuff to allow them to build on that engine to make it more capable, they need to do that. Like that's what I would like to see for this game. Because as it currently stands, what's really holding it back is how big the game is, right? It's 80, 100 gigs. Like, I don't know if you guys have Warzone, but that thing's like 100 gigs itself. Like, there comes to a point where your hard drive just can't take anymore, right? So that's why they're getting things away with this Destiny content vault. But they need to figure out a way. The best way, I guess, to put it was just optimize it. They need to better optimize it, kind of like a PC. Get that old tech out, get new tech in. That way they can do bigger and better things. And if they haven't started doing that, like, I wish that they need to, like right now.
Are you not a fan of the content vault? The way you said that made it sound like.
No, I'm a huge fan of the content vault.
Yeah, I'd pick that up.
But
see, because it's so big.
It's so big. I think that if they still had like the Leviathan, Bungie's really bad about setting and forgetting. I understand the game has to go on, but the biggest, what I like to call like lightning in a bottle activities, Menagerie was one of them. Like, that was lightning in a bottle. It came out.
Missed that.
At first, there was the little bug where you could get like 9 drops. Like, everybody loved that. But even after that, the weapons were so good. You still went in there and got your 1 or 2 drops per run. And things like that, they shelve it. They kind of walk away from it. There was the, not Prison of Elders, but it's where you got Saladin's Vigil in D1. What was that called? It was basically Archon's Forge. Yeah. That was another one. We had these activities, and we see them every season. Like, we've had Override, we've had Battleground.
Well, really, so take something that was done by accident, but they could make it a thing, like once a month or once every 2 months, like the 12-man raids.
Yeah.
Yes. You know how completely fun that was, over the top fun.
It literally was one of the best weeks that I had in Destiny in such a long time, because we just got to bring in people you haven't played with in ages, and it was just like it was like a big family reunion in sorts,
Well, and so one of the things I had mentioned, like last week when Tej was on, was what if we did maybe once every quarter they did mayhem raids for a week. where you had unlimited super and and you just went ham in a raid.
There's nothing. Like the third thing where I was gonna say party game modes, because I don't know if you guys remember in Halo there was Fiesta, and I mean in Destiny we've had SRL, we've had Sparrow Racing, and at some points, I mean, to a fault, Destiny takes itself way too seriously, to a fault sometimes. But I understand why they do it. I mean, they progress with the story, and it's the light, the darkness. I get it, but there's so much within this game with their emote system, with their game mechanics, that you could create some really cool out of the box stuff. And I do hope one day they explore that. And the most that we've ever seen really was SRL.
Well, and like whenever a Fallout, you guys had did a Titan Ball.
Yeah, Titan Ball.
I mean, that was, you guys got creative with it, and just, and that is unique. That is, I thought that was pretty, one of the things is, it's like, come on, can't one of the devs, like, you know what? Let's do some off the wall shit.
Well, think about another event that they had when the Prometheus lens was just doing ridiculous triple damage, and then what they did is they just let Xur sell it, and then they had it was like a laser tag weekend, and it was like a fun weekend, and then it have your fun before it goes away. It's almost and then it never comes back, and it's like that was like you have Team Scorched. Well, you could have Team Laser Tag and just go ham with Prometheus lens. I mean, like it was back then. It was like so much fun, And then you're right. There's the lightning in the bottle, but there are formulas of success that could come into rotation, but just aren't taken advantage of. And you're right. There's this whole let's listen to the public. What do you want this weekend? They've done it a few times with what maps do you want for trials this weekend? Make it even more. You hit a good point.
Within the tower around the holidays, you can start throwing snowballs at each other. Like the mechanics there, dude. Why don't we have some snowball dodgeball PvP? 5v5. You get it with the snowball, you're done.
Can we just play dodgeball for PvP? That'd be awesome.
I think they need to have an all boop weekend.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Like a lot of the stuff's there. It just, so that would be my three things. It would be a large social hub to actually LFG with live people. I think that's one. Two, optimize the engine, get rid of the old tech. And three would be party game modes. Because all those things can be built on and elevate the game. I think so.
Well, so even in the first year they came out with the snowballs, they put them in strikes, and they actually slowed down the enemies.
They debuffed.
They were stasis before stasis.
And then of course last year, they didn't even put those back in. It was just like, hey, why not? That was so fun.
Yeah, they reduced the number of places too. It's only at the front of the tower now.
Yeah.
So you did three things you'd like to see. What about three that you'd like to see go away?
Three that I'd like to see go away.
Yeah. How about three negatives? Let's frame it that way.
Yeah.
Three things that you'd like to see either fixed or changed or deleted from the game, or whatever. Just.
And we all know Shatterdive's already.
What's your pain points?
So as far as pain points, like
Witherhorde and PvP.
Oh, I think Witherhore's great. It's fine.
Oh.
Yes, that's my brother.
It's fine.
Yeah,
I did a trials card last week with Witherhorde.
That's a guy who has access to Bungie's test servers and knows that
Given the eye.
Okay, I'll start with PvP. On that side, there needs to be a true rank visible thing, because one thing that's getting lost with all of their testing is their data. They do it every week, and they're this week at Bungie. Well, there's this many doing this many doing that. Like, that's cool and all, but it needs to be, like, when you start putting similar skill players together, it was Halo had the numerical system. I don't know if you guys remember Halo 3. It was level 1 to 50. When you're a 44, you got matched one above or one below. So you fight against 46s, 45s, 44s.
Right.
You don't know who you're playing against in Destiny, and if they want these things to work out how they want, I do think they need to add something like that, because you don't know as a player if you're getting better or if you're getting worse. All you know is you just got your ass whooped, and it's Bungie's matchmaking. That's what they did. Well, maybe they were actually your skill level and you just played bad, or maybe you outplayed them. But there's no way of knowing because Bungie doesn't tell us that information. Like, I would assume everyone does have a true skill. Everyone does have, I don't know if they do it by tiers or numbers, bronze, silver, platinum, whatever it is. Everybody does have that. We know this, but if it was in game, it would alleviate a lot of the problems, I think, on the player feedback side. So that would be one, getting a better ranking system to show true skill.
You think about the state of trials. What do you think won and what do you think lost in that? What would you in the let's keep or let's throw away in this new trial?
So this particular week, I haven't played it, but I've seen enough and I've talked to everybody. That's not a long-term deal. At least I don't think that it is, because what people forget, and it's not like I'm an above-average player. I'm not an elite player. But what people like really easily forget is it's not that, people like, first of all, I don't like stomping people. Like, I don't. That's why I play solo a lot. Because to me, it's like I said, it's organic gameplay. We're not stomping people down. We're not just running people over. But what people fail to forget, like, once you start getting up in those skill brackets, like when that flawless pool opened up on the weekends and previous, what'll happen is people talk about, oh, I just want to chill, I want to have fun, I can't do it anymore. Because what happens is, like, I was running Precious Scars and having a great time with it, but once I was in that flawless pool, like, I simply can't do that. And with these games, when you start matching that strict and that high of a skill level, the game turns into what we hate. Because the game turns into, like you said, we need to have stompies on, we need to have the sight and ramparts, we need to do those things. So it's much less about
experimentation,
and I wouldn't even say having fun, but it does turn into a sweat fest because you're pretty much forced to do those things. Because if you don't, you're gonna lose. If you're running against 3 Revenant Hunters and you're messing with, like, even like an Atheris's Embrace on a Hunter, like the weighted throwing knife, like, that's fun, like, that's cool, you can get some good plays going. If you play against similar skill, running those Revenant Hunters, you need to be doing that or something similar, just as strong. So there needs to be a way and what I think needs to happen is they need a brand new card called the Flawless card. It could be called whatever, because that would truly be the flawless pool. You can't match anybody that doesn't have this card. There needs to be a way for lower skill players to get the Lighthouse, because really the game's about loot, and I could care less if a lesser skilled player gets an Ice Messenger. Like, who cares, right?
Yeah, because really, okay, let's say a lesser skilled player gets that gun that I mean, there are elitists out there who think, oh no, if you're not skilled enough to get there on your own, there should be no gimmies. But then again, even if they have the exact same thing you have, you are still way more skilled. What are you worried about?
People don't realize that.
It's not the gun that, it's
people don't realize that, dude. And it's like, oh well, it's the prestige of going flawless. I'm like, is it really though? I mean, what flawless really is getting a group of friends together, doing something together, and having an end goal within your team. Right? If you 3 went flawless, it's something you can talk about for the week or next week. Hey, or tell your friends we went flawless. It isn't some group effort that only certain people should go. No, it's within the fire team. Like, we did something cool, we did it. Maybe we got lucky a couple times with a couple plays. Like, that, to me, that's what trials is, right? It's helping people out, helping each other to get there. Not some look as an elitist, like, oh, only good people should go. Like, well, dude, they made it. They did what you did. So,
I mean, that was what was great about the first weekend, because it was bag. Well, yeah, it was like you look on Twitter and you saw so many people going flawless for the first time to see what the Lighthouse really looks like without it being on somebody else's screen.
So the question is, do you think that they hit the sweet spot on that first week, or is it so many players played that first week, they got the one new weapon that was released this season, and then it died off from there because what's to go back for?
I think it's both, and they should and they are, and I think they continue to protect less skillful players from the really good players. It'd be different if this was Halo, if this was Call of Duty, strict first person, even arcade competitive shooters. It would be different. It really would. I would be more along the lines of, that's why that true skill, that true rank needs to be in the game. So you can see yourself getting better, getting up to that skill point. But as it sits right now, there's so many different types of players, dude. I know a couple that main Gambit, dude. I can't do that. Like, they are in Gambit.
That is a rough life right there.
There's nothing wrong with it, dude. I know people
but it's a rough life.
But they love it.
Gambit.
Yeah,
they do.
I know people that know life strikes, right? And nothing wrong with that. I go in the strike playlist to get my pinnacles. I'm out.
I know. I chew off my tongue before I can do that.
I know life alters a sorrow.
Yeah. So, like, there's so many different players that, yes, they're in a game like Destiny, there should be something in place to make people that main Gambit all day or strikes not play somebody that spends 60 hours a week in the Crucible. And I think that it's a hard problem to try to solve, and I don't envy what they're trying to do. And they should be trying different things. And let's remember it. They are trying things, and they're doing it actually swiftly, changing it week to week. And then, hey, the Flawless Pool is going on Sunday, or hey, it's going to be on Monday. But I mean, I liked week 1 because we talked about it on Firing Range. I mean, what makes trials work overall, number one thing is population. The more people playing, the more varying skills, the better off it's going to be. And what they did the following weeks with the Flawless Pools is they start that divide. Remember we were talking earlier, hey, we did this awesome thing, we went Flawless. Well, if I've gone Flawless and I'm only playing Flawless players and you haven't gone Flawless, we can't play, essentially. We can, but
it's not going to be fun.
It's going to be extremely difficult. And, like, that's why my wife stopped playing Destiny, dude. Because even they've done many iterations, she loves playing Crucible, like she's an Apex player. But it got to a point, like in my lobbies, she would face my skill level, and she wasn't having a good time, like at all. Enough that she quit playing the game. So, like, I see it. I understand.
No, but to me, so yeah, if I go in and I immediately just get wrecked, and I can't even, it's like you keep getting knocked down before you can even stand back up. It's really frustrating, but, and I get, it pisses you right off. But if I could see, oh man, that dude's rank 100 and I'm like rank 10, I wouldn't find it as offensive. It'll be like, oh well.
That's a matchmaking deal.
But would you find it offensive if you were rank 10 and he was rank 7? He kept knocking your ass down.
That I would challenge myself. If I could, like I said, I see their rank and I see a rank 7 knocking me down, and I'm rank 15, he's 7, and I'm thinking, what am I doing wrong? I would start questioning myself rather than, how is this sucker cheating? Your mind goes to that. But if you, like I said, like if they had some sort of ranking, visible ranking, you see, oh, this guy's 88. Well, no wonder. I got to find a way to surprise him. It changes your thought process behind the game. Yeah. So, which would be cool.
So we've had this man for an hour and 15 minutes, and we told him an hour and a half. So
I'm down to keep talking if you guys are.
Oh, it's fine. No, I got one here that's fallen asleep.
We're having a great time.
Yeah,
I've got a couple things.
I don't know about you, man.
So what I would say is, why don't we put you on the books to have you come back, and we can go a little deeper since we now know your whole history of your video games. We don't need to talk about that. We can dive right into some other bullshit.
No, but yeah, we got this. Is,
yeah, we can.
One thing, I got a couple things I do want to ask about. Sure. One of them is, this will probably be quick, but I think this will be on your wish list because I saw you talk about it. A streamer mode incognito when you're in Crucible. So, you're not, easily recognized and soloed out, picked out. Oh man, got to kill him over and over again, and make sure you teabag him because you're probably going to be on his channel.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, it's cool, but the thing is, because I seriously don't play Destiny like people play Destiny. I'm getting footage like with a perk. I'm trying to get footage of that perk and just playing and trying to get good footage of that. But what ends up happening, like I say, 8 out of 10 times, people they'll see me, they'll focus me down. I have really cool clips of I have 10 that I have on my computer of my friend's point of view of people like popping Striker, navigating through everybody, chasing me down to do the slam on me, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. And then there's a lot of what's called ego challenging, right? Especially snipers, man. I'll get them one shot, and this happens to everybody, but every time it gets me, they will poke back out. They'll dome me. They'll just ego challenge, or they'll slide out when they're one shot. Just stuff you would never do. But it's one of those, like, if I were to be anonymous, I know a lot of that stuff wouldn't happen. That's what was nice about Steam, when you could change your name.
Well, so on that topic though, I mean, it doesn't matter if you are a well-known streamer or not. Every Crucible match, I don't care if it's 6v6, 3v3, there's one person on the other team that somehow owns me.
Yeah.
To a degree. They're my nemesis the rest of the match. Everyone else can go to hell. That one person, I'm going to make sure that I kill. It's like I won't dodge other people. Yeah. It's like I won't not kill someone just to get to them, but the minute that they are in that same vicinity,
cross my path.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's the beauty of the game, though. When you find that nemesis in that game, and then you go and not to say you teabag or nothing, because I know that's above me, but it is kind of fun to find that nemesis in the game and be like, all right, I'm coming after you, you son of a bitch. Now it's time. Whether I go like 0.25 at the end of the game, I know that I had my fun trying to go after it. But that's just having Crucible.
You gave
him the way that it's fun for you.
He kills you 15 times. You get him that one time, and you're like, yes.
And that's it.
I know, but that's an accomplishment for it. If I lost the match, but I finally got the drop on that person, I ended their
streak,
ran out of medals or whatnot, and it's like, oh yes, got him. And I've actually sent messages to people like, dude, man, you are so hard to kill. Props, man. Impressive. I like to send the. No, I hate just sending straight up GG. I'll send a detailed message. Really.
He's the only fucker
really
that does.
Respect.
But he won't emote with them.
Yeah.
No.
He won't shake their hand, but he'll send them a dissertation.
When the first week of trials came out and everyone was doing the whole just for the bounties, hopping off the match and all that stuff.
Oh my god!
I would do a group emote and hope they would come over before they killed me. And just give me a hug, and I'll jump off. Don't worry. Just give me the hug one time. So that's the only time. But no, the other thing that I was going to ask was stasis.
Yeah.
Changed the game in a horrible. It's been something very hard to overcome. What do you think? Are you worried about the new polearm that's coming out in the Witch Queen or whatnot?
So, I enjoy stasis, and I'll tell you why.
Oh yeah, it's fun. It's fun, yeah. But Crucible wise is probably where it's
even there, and I'll tell you why. The game needs innovation. Right? Any game needs innovation. Now, there are sometimes innovation goes the absolute wrong way. I don't know if you guys play Call of Duty at all, but they made Advanced Warfare with jetpacks and flying around. And then there was Halo. Like Halo 3, the Bungie Halo was walking. Now, eventually they need to innovate to have sprint in the game, right? But there are some games that innovate poorly, and it kind of takes away from the original formula of what you fell in love with in the first place. Right, so with Destiny, it's space magic, dude. It's Nova bombs and it's Blink and it's all these cool things. You can innovate a lot with that. And what Stasis does is it adds that different dynamic, and they're going to build on it. At least from what I've seen in that Void 3.0 post, of how there's the slow shatter and or the slow freeze shatter, all that stuff. Like those dynamics are cool. That's why I like Stasis. And ultimately, I think that the game needs that, even in the Crucible, because a lot of people aren't really using the Glacier, because the Glacier grenades really are for zoning people out. It's for, like you were talking about earlier, Boop, of blocking people off or holding people away. I mean, they're very offensive, which is unfortunate. But I do think that the game needs more of that. And with our original subclasses, or Arc and Void and Solar Grenades, we've been playing with that for 6-7 years. So the more that we can add to this formula of getting it all together, I'm a big fan of, personally.
What would you
Well,
say
I
has
mean,
been
didn't they
the
say something about all void classes, getting some kind of invisibility, with it in that new upheaval?
I don't remember. They did talk about like the Sentinel getting.
They kind of said, what if the Sentinel could do something to go invisible, like the Hunter?
Yeah, or just and that's what's so stasis. It's harnessing the darkness, and when you start blanketing as harnessing the void, all that does kind of count. Devour, invisibility, the bloom, the combustion. So I think that's cool. And if they can find ways to intertwine those, and they did, I forget what they were called. It's something on void does something to the other thing, just kind of like slow, freeze, and shatter. I think that's a cool dynamic that honestly gets it into more of that MMO thing that they're pushing for, or they started to last year. I don't know. They said it like 10 times in like a 2-minute interview. It's like it's an action MMORPG. So as far as stasis, I think that it obviously came in too hot. That's the first time that they ever created anything from the original 3. So I hope that they learned their lesson. So anything to ever come out that has to do with anything of those abilities, I would hope that they can balance it correctly. But I'd like more of it personally.
What would you say in the life of Destiny 2 has been your favorite meta, and what was the worst meta, do you think?
The worst meta is Mountaintop Recluse.
Oh, good clue. That's a good one.
That one's bad.
But as a PvP player, I loved using it in Shatter.
Of course you do.
PvE wise, it was like the best PvE.
Oh, it was God mode. It was fantastic.
Yeah. And the best, I mean, I don't know. What's cool about Destiny is everyone has their own perfect version of Destiny. And that goes back into D1. It could be the House of Wolves meta, where pulse rifles were really powerful. Then there's parts where auto rifles were powerful. And that's why I don't envy Bungie of what they have to do, because they have to keep a lot of people happy. And they used to do quarterly meta shifts where they would make auto rifles really good, then they would nerf them, but really both pulses. And then they would do it to scouts. Also, the scout meta I wasn't a fan of. But nothing against scouts. It's just very, very poor gameplay. It just took forever. But I don't know. I think that the Crucible sandbox, they're doing a really good job of keeping everything really balanced. But I mean, I liked all the pulse metas personally. And that goes back in D1 and D2.
That's fair.
Yeah, because you have a single-handed way that you can break Destiny yourself. You know that, right? So you can break PvP. You put out, here's your God roll, and
like at any point in time, doesn't matter what the meta shifts to. True Vanguard finds a way to make sidearms work.
The last one we can blame is Xur for the main ingredient, because that's now everywhere. So after the fusion meta, right?
And that's those fusions. I'm getting ready to start talking about those on my channel, man. I don't like the high impact fusions. I don't know what they did to them. They're in a bad spot, but
horrible.
My favorite, like I said, it'd probably be the pulse one. And by the way, every time you get a sidearm kill, you need to audibly say out loud, "Look at me, I'm True Vanguard." Every time you get a sidearm kill, Fallout does it too. And when Fallout streaming, make him do that. Say, hey, you're supposed to say, "Hey, look at me, I'm True Vanguard." Every time you get a sidearm kill.
All right. So when Austin plays, not Cool Guy, what's your go-to loadout?
It depends on the exotic. It would be either Ace of Spades CQC-12, or it would be Cloud Strike Multi-Mock.
That's a good choice. Those are good.
I've always been an Ace of Spades fan. I think it's my favorite gun.
I always like to at least either play with a bow in the primary or the special, one or the other.
Do you have a good
bows? Are just fun. Yeah. Oh yeah. And the thing that upsets me about that is I was mad that I lost Subtle Calamity, because it was that precision bow. I could get Firefly on it. It was void. So we got that got sunset, but we still had the use of the precision bow from the Iron Banner that was arc. So what do they do? One stag. And what do? They give us another precision bow that is the same as like Subtle Calamity with, you know, perks like that, but it's arc still. Come on, man.
Yeah.
And branch out, you know.
So, all right,
Bo takes a special person.
Let's start wrapping this down. If you get, you know, we've had this man for an hour and a half now, and I'm pretty sure Molly fell asleep about an hour and 35 minutes ago.
But Cool Guy is super easy to talk to.
No, he is, and that's why I said
that's the addicting part.
Let's get him back, you know, fairly soon, and we can continue.
We should go run some banner after this.
There you go. So, all right.
Final five.
Yep. Boop, you got our first question. So Austin, just so you know, we ask everybody that comes on the first time the same 5 questions. You are required to give us answers for every single question.
Sure.
Obligated.
This is a tough one now, because we talked about this before. But what is your favorite food?
And you can't just get the blanket. Can't just get a blanket barbecue. Something specific.
Yeah, you got to go specific.
It's burn ends.
Burn ends.
Burn ends.
Burn ends is my favorite.
The hell is that?
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, I've never heard of this.
It's
burn ends.
Burn ends. It's the end of a brisket. So the end of the brisket gets charred. It's the beef nugget.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just Google burn ends. Look at the picture of it. They're awesome.
All right.
That is my favorite.
There's a barbecue place in Phoenix, Arizona called Little Miss Barbecue. It's almost like this little hole in the wall, just real close to the airport. But literally, they are cooking everything that they're making the day before is for tomorrow. The day you're there is for tomorrow's batch, and they serve till they sell out, and they sell out every day. But man, it is so good. You can eat that and like taste it for the rest of the day, but it's not a bad aftertaste. It's a perfect aftertaste. You're happy. You're just like.
Have you created your own sauce?
No.
If the barbecue is good, you don't need it.
You get the Cool Guy sauce. That's what.
Yeah, there you go. And you should launch it during your own cooking barbecue stream.
That's it.
There you go.
Austin sauce.
Yep. So, what's your favorite drink? Alcoholic, non-alcoholic?
Alcoholic. I mean, I love Dos Equis, but a buddy of mine, Jingle, he taught me. He's a bartender. He taught me a drink. It's called an Earl Grey Martini, and this is like it's my new jam. There was a bartender in New York that came up with it, like a fusion with it. What it is it's Tanqueray, and you soak it with Earl Grey tea. Sits for a day. So it's that with there's a sugar liquid, like an added filler. So that's that an ounce of lemon juice. Then you shake it with an egg white, right? So just the white of the egg. It's kind of like it's kind of like a sour, but dude, it is delicious. It is absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
that's cool.
That is
probably
crazy.
The same guy who figured out if you have this one perk on your boots along with this one gun, and you do stupid damage to a Mr. Tribute Hall, practice area.
I do too, man. I do too. And non-alcoholic would be Big Red.
Nice.
Big Red.
What is
Nice.
that?
That's a
Big
southern
Red?
thing.
It's a soda.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pop, depending on where you're from.
I think you have homework.
You do.
Depending on where I've lived.
She lives in Maine, so.
Well, I also live in Buffalo, which is it's getting there.
Yeah, it's north.
Too, so I call it both.
So, Josh, you got our next question?
Yeah. I have no clue about.
Next question. If you could have anyone, voice your ghost, whoever it be, you can even choose someone alive or dead. If you could have anyone voice your ghost, who would it be?
Anyone to voice my ghost.
You can't say Fallout.
It'd probably be Christopher Walken.
Yeah,
I just think that would be great.
Good one.
I just think it'd be great.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we've heard that a few times. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So,
Emo Cabo.
Tell us about a time that you got embarrassed on the internet.
On the internet, dude.
Other than right now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty. I don't know, man.
That doesn't count.
So, I'm pretty to myself like with my Twitter and my content, like I just pretty much do what I want to do. Like I don't really follow a trend or what everybody's talking about. I just kind of talk about what I want to. And like on my Twitter, like I keep it pretty business, right? I mean, I'll post some barbecue stuff, but I haven't really, I guess I haven't really put myself in that situation yet, thankfully.
But not like streaming with all the guys.
Yeah,
no.
I think the funniest thing was whenever I heard Jay Overrated, the first time that Fallout got them all to play Phasmophobia. And when those hands came around for the very first time, you hear it whisper in your ear, his genuine scream. He was, he was, it was panic and terror.
I can't think of anything. I mean, maybe that's weird. I don't know.
Okay. We'll be asking your wife, right?
I'll talk about it next.
That's the thing. If you don't have an answer, we're going to the partner.
Or we're gonna call Fallout.
Oh yeah, you got to phone a friend.
Yeah, I do have his phone
Find
number.
something.
So.
Is it my turn now?
Yep, it's your turn, Molly.
Okay, favorite curse word.
Oh.
Again, we can verify this with the wife.
Gotta be shit.
Yeah.
Hey, fair enough. I like it.
It's not super popular.
Ain't that some shit?
But it's a good one.
It's good for every mood.
It's true.
That's up. You're happy.
That's usually why I go with fuck, actually.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
Love it.
Yeah, but in just the right term and way of using it, because it's one thing if you're just like, oh, you did something wrong, and shit, man. It's another thing if somebody comes around and does something stupid, like, way to go, shit for brains, Who was it? Who did we just have on the other day who would scream shit? It's like shit. I don't remember who it was.
Are you talking about Crit?
Yeah, Crit Buff.
Was it?
Oh,
Crit's favorite was Biscuits from Bluey.
He was Biscuits.
No, Chris was Biscuits. Yeah.
That was adorable. Oh, I don't remember. It was somebody. That's great though. That's literally the second time.
No, that was Tej. That was Tej because it was the way you said shit.
Shit!
Yeah, it was the loud, drawn-out shit.
I love it. I love it. That's a good one. You would think it would be more popular than it is.
All right, Austin, give us all your details. Where can people find you on the internets and find your content and everything?
Sure. Twitter and YouTube is going to be Cool Guy Games, and when I do stream, it is I Am Cool Guy Games on Twitch right here. Hope to do it soon.
Yeah.
I always say that. But.
You can always find them lurking in Fallout's channel also.
That's right.
And what about your podcast?
That is going to be DCP, Destiny Community Podcast. It is Firing Range. We do it bi-weekly every Wednesday, so I guess that should be tomorrow. Maybe. If not, it'll be the following Wednesday. But yeah, we do it bi-weekly.
How do you
We thought about doing it every week, but it's so hard because we all
can't attest. It's a lot.
All double lives,
Can we tell you about how miserable doing a weekly show is?
It's rough. I forget we're doing it. I get woken up.
Like, hey,
I'm not miserable. I'm new here though.
Yeah, you're
I'm
still
the new
young
guy.
and full of life.
Yeah, I got the new guy
It's
figure.
like the new employee versus the one who's been there forever and everything's on fire. Yeah.
I think it would be next to impossible if we all had a robust either YouTube career or streaming life, but we don't. I mean, this is the one night we have something.
But it doesn't. You don't have to have that though. I mean. I listened to some earlier stuff. I mean, I watched the Crit Buff.
Crit Butt.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love Crit Butt.
The conversation about this game, man, and the community, like, you don't need any of that.
No.
And the goal, conversation and have a good time.
The goal here is just to introduce people to the audience and just get them, like, what's the background story? Who are who's the person, not the name or whatever, And we love going on deep dives and finding people that nobody's ever heard of, and we love grabbing, the big names and going, all right, tell us the story that nobody knows. The
getting
stuff.
a different angle, on popular people.
Yeah, because that's what makes people connect to, hey, they already loved you for your content, and they're like, oh, holy shit, this guy is a KC barbecue fan. Oh man, this is amazing. I mean, and that's the. Yeah,
Austin lost a lot of people when he started talking about the Chiefs. That's just he's out.
I'm telling you.
So.
Yeah, but see, he said he lived in St. Louis, but everyone from Missouri knows, even if doesn't matter where you're at, you still root for the Chiefs. The Rams were nice and all, but they were never the one you know.
They were in and out. No time.
So, all right. Anything coming up interesting that you're working on?
Man, so I mean, we're kind of in a long season. You know, I mean, I don't think we have anything going on in November for the game. Then we get that big December patch. You know, I have a lot of videos. I have 15 videos planned out, man. Like I'm going to talk about like there's a problem with the class identity. There's a problem with build crafting in the Crucible. There's some reviews. There's a couple builds. I guess more of the normal stuff, but actually a little bit extra. I mean, I want to get a lot of discussion. There are things that, because my stuff takes so long, man. And also, I did things differently this season because there were the new weapons. There was the Vulpecula and all these things. I dove right into the exotic changes, like the Stag and Precious Scars. So, like, that took a whole bunch of time. So I finally got caught up with the seasonal stuff that I'm now getting into content that I've always wanted to do for this season, but I've always been making reviews and builds. So...
But best you could say the current season's weapons and names. The Fractus and the Chrysler Mellow.
Yeah.
You know.
The, what is it? The Iota whatever.
Draconis.
Draconis, yeah.
I actually had to stare at the screen at the Fractus. I can't even say it now. You try to pronounce it.
Yeah, I got the stasis thing. The auto rifle for this season. That's all I got.
Well, we're really excited to have had you, man. This is a really great discussion, and
we look forward to grabbing you again soon.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah. It's gotta happen.
So. Thank you guys for having me.
Hey, no problem.
I just kept talking, man. I'm sorry about that.
No, hey, that's what we're here for. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Think you lost Josh there? But
no, I'm still here. I plugged the wrong thing.
So the idea behind the show is once we go live, it's your show. You know, we're just here to ask some questions, so never feel bad about taking over. But all right, on that note, since Josh is now beyond being able to even unplug USB cables, I think we should call it a night. I think we're going to go over and raid Evan F tonight, so stick around, watch him. He's always interesting.
Right on. Thanks everyone for coming out.
Are we off?
And we're out. But yeah.